tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
All right. Welcome everybody to another Friday night edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is your gateway drug to liberty. Tonight we have the subscriber showdown. This show has attracted some incredibly smart subscribers, people who care about ideas, follow the issues, and think they're up to the challenge. Some are podcasters, some are politicians, some are just sharp people ready to prove themselves. Tonight, they step into the arena to find out who is actually smarter than a politician. All right. Joining us tonight, Jonathan Miller. He is a candidate for NC Senate. You can donate to him or find out more about his platform at millerforncsenate.org or check out his ex Miller for NC Senate. How are you tonight, Jonathan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Glad to have you. Also joining us tonight for the first time ever as well, Kay, and you can find her on X at 3Stand for Truth. And I know her because she's awesome and involved in Southwest Florida libertarian politics. How are you tonight, Kay?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. And last but not least, my buddy Dan. You can find him on X at NJSK8R20. I feel like I should throw like a Zulu or a Niner in there. How are you tonight, Daniel?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Thanks for doing this. And last but not least, our lovely producer, Terry Batts. How are you tonight, Terry?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to go and get this going. I've been looking forward to it for months. Ready to go. Let's go, chat.
Excellent. And as always, our Friday night shows are sponsored by Xano. Tired of surveillance coins dressed up as freedom tech? Xano is the real deal. Open source, enterprise-grade privacy, scalable and secure. Build, spend, and tokenize any asset without the peeping eyes. Xano isn't just private. It's none of their business. And if you're new to this space, visit intro.xano.org to learn how Xano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets all in one simple, secure platform built for real-world freedom. Thank you, Xano. And, of course, thank you to all of our subscribers. There are a ton of you now. The newest ones are the LP Chair has joined us, Evan McMahon, pleased to have him, as well as London River. Great to have you as well. Thank you. And you can subscribe on X if you'd like to as well. And you can sponsor us by emailing studio@freedomuncut.com. And we will also be at Freedom Fest, July 8th through 11th. If you'd like to do that, go to freedomfest.com. It's the best convention in the Liberty space, and you can get a discount by using the Spike 100 discount code. That will give credit to You Are the Power, who we will be joining at the event, so that'll be a good time. And last but not least, we will be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival, August 6th through 9th in Lake Satoshi, Michigan. That website is mplfest.org. All right, let's jump into it here. Please share this out. Help bust the algorithm. Help make this a success tonight. I am on X at Smarter Game Show. Terry is Bats T76. Helping behind the scenes is Amity Lee 13, as well as Casey, host of the They Both Suck podcast, and he is at American versus Gov. You can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. I am wearing the My Other Car is a Killdozer shirt tonight, and happy belated Killdozer Day to those of you that celebrate like me and Casey do. And you can find our shorts at Freedom Uncut on YouTube. Tonight's grand prize will be the Are You Smarter Than a Peace prize. We also have Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead Teddy Bear, an assortment of libertarian bobbleheads, the Ron Paul It's Happening alarm clock, the Federal Reserve Magic 8 Ball. Whenever they need a decision, it just says print more money. We also have this new $250 bill. Get it today because it'll be worth less tomorrow. We also have the new game, Wall Street Bailout Raft. It's too big to fail. Relax, lose money, get rescued. We win, you pay. Also, we have the game Neoconopoly if you want to teach your kids about global domination, and the Dollar Destroyer, who needs a central bank when you can wreck money in your own home. And of course, we have the Trump nativity set because nobody's taking it off our hands, so please do so tonight. And the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Here are the rules tonight, a little different. I am the government, whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The rules are there are no debates tonight, no busters, none of the other fake rules, and everybody starts off with negatives with 0 points because you already paid the government. Here's how this is going to work. Round 1 is the rookies. The winner will advance to the final round. Round 2 is the contenders. Same thing. Winner advances to the final round. Round 3 is the ringers. Winner advances to the final round. But the twist is there's going to be one wild card spot. The top scorer that didn't win from round 2 or round 3 will also advance to the final round. And the final round tonight is going to be interesting because it's built around my favorite questions for once, the topics I think that matter most right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So I hope you're up to the task. Here's how scoring works. The chat controls the score, give or take up to 100 points from the contestants. And of course, because I am the government and I believe in crony capitalism, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they pay me, so they matter more. The twist is tonight, subscribers cannot give points while they're playing. So they can give them the rest of the game, but not while they're on screen. So feel free to be active in the chat until you're on screen. All right, so this is the rookies. Here we go. I'm going to put Terry in the back. She controls the chat and the score. Make her life extremely difficult. Thank you very much, Terry. All right. First question is to you, Jonathan. This is the lightning round, of course. All right, Jonathan, the category is law enforcement and criminal justice. Has the justice system become more focused on revenue than justice?
Absolutely. You're not sitting in a county jail unless you're poor. They charge these bails, and everybody in the system is getting paid. The bondsmen are getting paid. The lawyers are getting paid. Everybody's getting paid, but they're doing all kinds of things to make everything difficult for everybody. I've talked to a lot of people who have paid tickets that they weren't guilty of because to take the day off of work and go go fight the ticket is more trouble than it's worth. So they just pay the ticket and the fines. So it's definitely getting more about revenue than about justice.
Excellent. All right, Kay, to you. Category is energy and power. Should nuclear power be expanded aggressively in the United States?
Absolutely. This is a great, clean way of energy. It's cost effective. It needs to be expanded. I think a lot of people are afraid of nuclear energy, but we need to expand it. There's a lot of other great ways too. Cold fusion. There's a lot of research out there with that as well, and I think that we're going to be seeing cold fusion in the future too.
Excellent. Thanks, Kate. All right, Daniel, to you. Categories income tax. Is the federal income tax too high for the average American?
Hey, goddamn! Can I fucking?
We can hear you.
Oh, you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Income tax is way too high. What? Why do we have income tax?
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Dude,
All right.
look at
Jonathan, back to you. The category is drug war and cannabis. Did the war on drugs do more damage than the drugs themselves?
Well, the drug war has been raging for 50 something years, and people are still using drugs. They haven't done anything to stop that. But what they have done is they've put a lot of people in prison that really don't belong there. I was in prison for cannabis. I did 17 months in North Carolina State Prison, and there were a lot of people in there that their only charge was possession of some substance. And, you know, they had problems, but not problems that should have landed them in prison.
I agree. All right, KDU. The category is decentralized and parallel systems. Would Americans be better off with more local control and less federal control?
120% yes. Local, local, local. That is where it starts. If we want to see change, we need to get involved in local, and that's where we're going to have change. We need to decentralize, and what that means is getting out of government-controlled systems, from education to medical to pharmaceutical, even energy. There's a lot of things that people, they're homesteading and going off grid, growing their own food. And, as things are, progressing with the monetary system, and if the dollar breaks and we get involved in, having to, fall, get a chip or whatever they're going to do for the new currency, we're going to start seeing a lot of different parallel societies. We see it now. We see, communities and people finding their tribes and getting together, trading and bartering, and getting their food, clean food sources, not in grocery stores, but with local farmers. Parallel systems is just, we might even see, parallel systems with money, people trading, with, gold and silver. It may have to come to that one day.
I agree. All right, Daniel, to you. Category is government spying. Has the intelligence community gained too much unchecked power?
I'm sorry, shit just fell down. Repeat.
Has the intelligence community gained too much unchecked power?
Yeah. I mean, the fucking Fourth Amendment. Like, you gotta get a fucking warrant for that shit.
I agree. All right, Jonathan, back to you. Category is education choice. Do parents deserve full control over where education dollars go?
Absolutely. And as a candidate for North Carolina Senate, I have a plan. There's a bill that I've written that would give parents the choice between homeschools and private schools and the public school, if that's what they choose. The money would stay with the children instead of just going to the public schools and maybe getting a voucher if you decide to put your kid in private school. That money is yours to use for your child's education. And if you want to take them on field trips and buy them books for homeschool, then you can do that with the money. If you want to send them to private school, you can do that with the money. If you want to assign that money to the public school, you can do that. Parents deserve to have the ultimate choice in their kids' education. And if we're going to tax people and take their money and use it for education, the parents should have a say on what that money goes to.
I agree. All right, KDU. Category is health freedom. Do Americans have enough freedom to make their own medical decisions?
No, they don't. I mean, look at insurance companies. I mean, at the top, you have what they call the death squad, who decides who lives and who doesn't. Look what happened with COVID. I mean, it was a scary thing to go into the hospital. Hospitals were getting anywhere from 38,000 all the way up to 250,000 per patient who died of COVID, getting on a respirator it was not good. Not many people came off of them. Look what happened with Obama, making us force to have health insurance, or you have to pay $400. All unconstitutional, not in the Constitution. There is a lot of medical stuff out there that the Western doctors don't know. When I say Western doctors, I mean the Rockefeller Medical School of doctors. I mean, all they do is give a pill. They're not like preventative medicine. There's a lot of other treatments out there, DMSO, red light therapy, nutrition. I mean, when we eat food, foods are chemicals. Most of the prescription drugs came from plants, but then they added in a lot of additives. And then there's a lot of your alternative medicine doctors that those type of services are not on, or you're not able to get through your insurance company. So we do not have medical freedom at all. Look at the vaccines, which have been proven not to be good for you, and they're being forced and taken. And then you have the whole culture of, you need to take these to make others safe, and I just don't understand why, people were taking the vaccines over and over again and they were getting sick. So we do not have a lot of medical freedom or choice right now in our country, and it's sad.
I agree. All right, Daniel, to you. Categories government bloat. Are Americans getting their money's worth from the federal government?
Getting our money's worth? We're not getting anything.
I agree. All right, Jonathan, back to you. The category is taxes. Would America be stronger with dramatically lower federal taxes?
America would be stronger with no taxes. Fuck taxes. Yeah, they should be lower at least, but they probably shouldn't exist at all.
I agree. All right, Katie, you.
All right.
Category is educational options. Are parents losing too much control over what their children are taught?
Yes, in the public school system, absolutely. Look what was going on in some of the school districts across the country, especially after 2020, when they were allowing kids to, have cat litter boxes in the bathroom. And also there was lots of different schools that had like pornographic books and teachers doing lessons. There was one lesson, some teachers were, had kindergartens, had them draw like private parts. It was absolutely disgusting. And then just, as far as education, I think we need to get rid of the Department of Education. It needs to go to the states, and states should allow their local school systems to decide, what is taught. Absolutely. And then just the science has changed over time.
Definitely has.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, to you. Categories victimless crimes. Are too many Americans in prison for non-violent offenses?
Well, yeah. I mean, you get pulled over fucking speeding and there's nobody else on the fucking road, but you get $200 taxation.
Definitely agree. All right. Jonathan, back to you. The categories First and Fourth Amendment. Has free speech become less protected over the last decade?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of talk about how, we have freedom of speech in this country, but then they're constantly trying to make laws to compel certain speech. And then you have Elon took over X, and now we're a free speech platform, but he silences you in other ways. He can tweak how your reach gets out there. And, it doesn't matter what you say if nobody hears what you say. So, free speech is being attacked from all directions.
I agree. All right, KDU, the category is anti-war. Has America become too involved in foreign conflicts?
Absolutely. I mean, look at the amount of money we're giving to Ukraine, and the whole Iran thing. I mean, no new wars. That's what was said. That's not what we're getting. Um, and if you look over time, look at where we have been in Somalia and all these places, changing culture and shaping the way that we want it through our government. Um, we don't need to have war unless Congress approves it, and we've been attacked and that we've been harmed. And it's just sad because the Constitution is not being followed, and it should be. Hence my T-shirt. We don't need to rewrite it. We need to read it and know it, and then our elected officials should be following it from the top all the way down to the bottom.
Definitely. All right, Daniel, to you. Category is Second Amendment. Should Americans be allowed to carry firearms nationwide without permits?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I gotta expand.
That's fine if that's what you got. That's cool. We're good. We're good.
Dude. Like, you see so many shit. I'm sorry, man.
No worries, man. All right.
But
Next to
people
you,
are
Jonathan.
fucking-
Jonathan, your category is law enforcement and criminal justice. Is qualified immunity protecting bad cops more than good cops?
Absolutely. Qualified immunity should maybe exist in some cases, but for the most part, if a cop violates your rights, there's no recourse, and you're supposed to have a way to redress your grievances with the government. And with qualified immunity, you can get your rights violated and nothing ever happens. And if anything does happen, it's not like the cops actually being punished. It's the city that's going to pay you if you win a lawsuit, and the cop's probably going to get Officer of the Year or something as, compensation for having to go through all that trauma of defending themselves against rights violations. So yeah, it's definitely probably protecting cops that are doing bad things and they know it, so they can continue to get away with it.
Excellent. All right, KDU. Categories energy and power. Has the electric grid become too fragile and centralized?
Yes, there's many cities that have had blackouts, and it is centralized. One of the sad things that's happening now is with the data centers, because it takes so much energy to power them. People in Nevada have been told, like there's 50,000 homes that received a letter that said, you're not going to be able to have electricity through us starting May of 2027. So what do those people do? So it is controlled, it is centralized. There are a lot of people getting off grid due to energy, and putting up their own systems, their own solar, and running those different ways from the sunlight, and even tapping into lithium batteries. We are going to see a lot more better batteries coming out, that are really innovative right now, that are coming through the pipeline. Mike Adams talks a lot about that, the Health Ranger.
All right. Last question of the rookie round is to you, Daniel. Category is income tax. Is the tax system designed to benefit the wealthy and connected?
How many times? Oh God. When we ask, fuck, I'm scrolling this up already. How many times when we ask about taxation, we say we're against taxation. And the rookie ass number one is what about the roads? You must drive on the roads. You must hate the roads.
I definitely
The
agree.
block has a long form.
All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Let's jump into the chat. It is fire tonight. Let's see. We got 200 Decay, love the hat. Jeremy Todd's here. Check out his campaign and donate to him. Points to K for DMing me to be here. Points to K for getting Jeremy in the chat. Points to Dan. Points to Dan for the most ominous lighting. Rooting for K. Shirley's here. What's up, Shirley? Woohoo, let's go. Yes. Points to K for the praying mantis glasses. Points to Dan for having cats. Points to Jonathan for the Steal Your Wealth sticker on his poster from Freedom Superstore. Nice plug, Amity. Addison Patrick's here. Check her out as well. Points to Jonathan for his outfit and cool sign. Points to Miller for speaking truth. Points to Jonathan, NC represent. Points to K for talking about nuclear energy. Points to Miller on the reality of county jail populations. Points to K for mentioning cold fusion. Points to K, thorium pilled. Points to K for a cool hat. Good answer, K. Points to Jonathan. Points minus to K for talking about Starbucks cold fusion brew, but points for the second 2A hat. Points to K for the glasses. Points to Dan for the outburst. Points to Dan for the most cuss words in the first round. Points to Jonathan for looking dapper. Points to Jonathan for the snack. Points to Jonathan for coming out on the other side. 100 packs of cigarettes for inmate John. Points to K for go local. Points to K, decentralized is the way. Points to K for local. Points to K for decentralization. Points to K for that sweet printer. Points to Dan, down for taxes. Points to Dan for get a warrant. Points to John, love the gold and black. Points to Dan for not being suitable to hire for children's birthday parties. Points to K for local. Points to Dan, no warrant, no comply, we have rights. Points to Jonathan for running for NC Senate. Points to Miller, the true choice in EDU. Points to Dan for popping a cap. Points to K for knocking down Rockefeller medicine and promoting alternative medicine they almost destroyed. Points to K for speaking facts. Points to K for letting me die like a medieval peasant, like God intended. Points to K for filibuster on a question. I would have had like 5 more. New political consultant. Points to Jonathan for F taxes. Points to Dan for being the antithesis of Larry Sharp with the answers. Points to Jonathan on the arts and craft prep. Points to K for costume changes mid-scene. Throwing off this corrupt government. 100 points to Dan. Points to K preach. Points to K.
No, I see everybody.
Dan just because he needs it. Points to Jonathan for being my top choice to narrate my favorite Audible books. Points to Jonathan for free speech. Points to John, F the IRS. Points to K, no new wars. Points to K for the hats. More for the hats. Points to K for the base shirt, but -4 for making me read. Points to K for sharing her computer screen with the rest of the class. Hashtag mirrored glasses. Points to Dan for the one-word answers. What's up, Jake? Thanks for reposting. Another hat change. Points to Dan for holding the flashlight for my dad vibes. Points to K, I have too many blackouts in my city. All right, let's see who won the rookie round. Oh, it was close.
I'd fucking win if I won.
K wins it 39.71. Jonathan 3,800. Dan 33.03. So what is going to happen now is K, you will come back at the end. And so, Jonathan, you came in second. What'd you think, man?
It was fun. I had a good time, and I knew I was going to lose to K, so I'm not disappointed.
Promote your campaign, please.
Oh yeah, vote for me. Yeah, and I'm trying to raise money this month. I need flyers and business cards and a couple of yard signs. So I'm trying to raise like $800. You can go there and donate. MillerforNCSenate.org.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this, dude, and thanks for being a
Thanks
subscriber.
for having me.
And Dan,
I
you
guess
were
I can
very
eat these
close.
now, right?
Yeah, there you go. Dan, you were very close. What did you think?
Man, I love this show. I've been a fan ever since Amity's been on the first time.
Appreciate you doing it, man.
Now.
Anything you want to shout out? You don't have to. No big deal. But thanks for coming on, guys. And like I said, Kate, join us back at the end. And I'm going to get rid of you guys, and then we will go on to the next round. Thanks again, Daniel and Jonathan. Appreciate you. Thanks for being subscribers, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
All right. Oh, that's a lot of me right there. Let's see who else we got here. That was way too much me. There we go. What is up, everybody? Let's see here. I am going to, let's see. There we go. All right. All right. So you guys have been on before. You are what I like to call the contenders. You've been on before. You've had some success, but you're here to try to take on the top dogs in the next round, the ringers. So y'all know the rules and everything, or at least, you know, theoretically, or, you know, you may have tried to do them at some point in Grumpy's case. So let's, I should probably introduce you guys. Let's do that. All right. Joining us, my buddy, Chris Townsend. He is CS Townsend 79 on X, and he likes to use his promotional space to advocate for antiwar.com, which you can find on X at antiwar.com. How are you tonight, Chris?
I'm doing good. Actually changed my handle to Anti-War Chris right before the show, so I know it wouldn't hit the graphics, but
that's super helpful to us. Thanks for
I know. Yeah.
We had no technical issues, so we needed one. So thanks for doing that.
Hey, no problem.
Appreciate it. All right. Also joining us, my buddy Dave Crance. He is chair of LP Northern Virginia, which is lpnova.org, on X, LP Nova, and you can find the man himself at Dave Crance. How are you tonight, Dave?
Hey, doing great. Glad to be back. Excited to be with this crowd. I met Steve at convention there. I'm looking forward to the event. Looking forward to having some fun.
Awesome, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Let's see here. The man known as Grumpy Gnome, Steve Phillips. I really like your poetry reading picture that you gave us. That was very helpful. He was a 2026 candidate for chair of the LP. If you blinked, you may have missed his speech. It was excellent, though. He's the co-host of the Golden Shower Power Hour on Sunday nights, 9 p.m.-ish on X. He's also the host of 3 Shots In, a much better show, in my humble opinion, on X, soon on Rumble, Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can find him on X at Gnome4308. What is up, Gnome?
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate this. I can't understand why I lost. I believe everybody in the party is retarded, so they should have voted for me.
Well, I believe you mentioned that in your speech. So
I think so.
That might have been the moment for you right there.
Yeah.
So, and last but not least, my friend Rebecca Massey. You can find her on X at the other Massey. How are you tonight, Rebecca?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Bree?
I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot going on tonight. This is a lot of chaos, which is kind of cool.
I mean, that's where we thrive, right?
This is true. This is true. All right. So you all know what's going on here. Let's see if I got you in the right order here. What am I doing here? So it is, well, this is not dragging nicely. Here we go. You guys are seeing how the sausages get made here. All right. And all right, we're good to go now.
Sausage.
All right.
I'm hungry.
Here we go. Chris, to you. Categories anti-war and non-intervention. Has the military-industrial complex gained too much influence over Washington?
Yes, they absolutely have. The military-industrial complex is weaponized influence and cronyism. They've, they perverted patriotism into something that makes blood into currency, and they sell it like you're a heretic if you disagree with them. So yeah, absolutely, the military-industrial complex is far too powerful.
I agree. All right. Next to you, Grumpy. Category is government spending. Are taxpayers getting their money's worth from the federal government?
We don't get anything from the federal government. They say they're here to defend us with the military. The military does absolutely nothing for us. Yeah, I wish I could name one thing that they do for us.
Yeah. You and me both, brother. All right, Dave, to you, the category is ballot access. Is the two-party system protecting itself from competition?
Real questions, please. Of course they are. That's why we have so many ballot access laws that differ state to state with it. Number of signatures to one, become an official party. Number two, to get on the ballot. The rules are always to keep us, and us being every independent and third party person in the world out in the US out there, off the ballot. The only reason primaries even exist is in case either the party doesn't like the candidate who stepped up, they can hold a primary, and at least in Virginia, they can run that primary to keep anybody from challenging or to get that candidate out. And then if they like who they got, they can directly nominate them in. We got to go out and get 1,000 signatures to run for Congress, 5,000 for Senate, 1,000 for a governor, less than we need for a president, just to make sure a governor couldn't go out and locally have enough support to win. So yes, it's absolutely a joke. We need a fair playing field.
Definitely agree. All right, Rebecca, to you. Category is education. Has the public school system failed too many students? You're muted.
My bad. I was
No
trying to
worries.
make sure my children screaming in the background were not interfering with other people's answers.
That was Gnome.
Yeah, it probably was. But I feel like the obvious answer here is yes, of course, the public school system is producing more failures than it is actually successes. We literally have people graduating high school that are completely illiterate. And as a parent of 3 myself, it's just absolutely bonkers that we're choosing to continue this sort of model with the rampant failures that it has produced.
No doubt. All right, Chris, back to you. Category is regulation and centralized power. Would America function better with more local control and less federal control?
Absolutely. Our politicians and the cronies have put crosshairs on our backs, and they'll do anything to keep their power.
Definitely agree. All right, Gnome, to you. Category is defend the guard. Should governors have more power to refuse foreign deployments?
Yeah, I don't know. Even the state governors shouldn't have that much power. I think that they end up with being generals, like in the old Roman days, where they were fighting against the system. I would have a hard time even doing that. If the government wants people to fight for their cause, they need to come up with a damn good reason.
Were you around in the Roman days?
I'm not answering that question.
Unfair.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, do you have a warrant?
Yeah, it might have gotten you points. I'm just saying. All right.
I mean,
Dave, to you, the category is taxation. Has the tax code become a tool for political favoritism?
It's an interesting question. A tool for political favoritism. I believe, number one, we need to do away with all the tax codes we got. But coming back around to using it as a tool, of course, it's a tool for political favoritism. It's a tool that's being used to, outside of the political favoritism, it's being used to kind of weaponize us against each other on the taxes with the way they set up the different levels as we have different incomes with it. It's being used to now, in many communities, and they're looking at it in several places in Virginia, to use the tax dollars they steal from us to give to candidates to make it fair so the candidates can run on the tax dollars they're taking from us. I can't see it being more weaponized than that. They shouldn't even be taking our taxes in the first place.
Definitely agree. All right, Rebecca, to you, the category is free speech. Has free speech become less protected in modern America?
you would give me this question. The short answer is yes. If you don't believe it, then I encourage everybody to either, I hate saying it this way, but either Google me, as you see my name on the screen, Rebecca Massey, or go on to my Twitter profile, look at my pinned post on there, and you can even kind of do a deep dive through anything involving myself and at the FIRE org, which is the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. I was literally arrested in front of my daughter, who came with me to city council, who was 10 years old at the time, and basically discarded by the city during my arrest. And I was held for roughly 90 minutes, all for daring to speak out against a city attorney who I had, number one, out-lawyered before, but number two, he was asking for a pay raise based on his, quote, exceptional job performance. And his job performance was anything but that. And I'm not even 2 minutes into my oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, for those who haven't seen the video, I got 3 minutes to speak and I had about 60 seconds left. And that's when they decided to strike and decided to forcibly remove me from council chambers. So yes, unequivocally, it is, free speech right now is in an abysmal state, in my opinion.
Definitely agree. Check out that video, everybody. All right, back to you, Chris. Category is technocracy and surveillance. Has technology given the government too much power over everyday life? Can't hear you.
I know I had it muted. I wouldn't say that technology has, but it's given greed a new place to flourish, and they get to pick, centralized power gets to pick who runs the technocracy. And they prey on the uneducated, and they pick the winners and choosers, and yeah, they're using technology against us when we should be using it to advance freedom.
Definitely. I like it. All right, Noam, to you. Category is authoritarianism. Would both major parties become more authoritarian if given enough power?
I believe they've already proven that, especially over the lockdowns of 2020 through, was it 2023? They lasted forever, and the more power you give them, the more times they're going to use it. They'll come up with another reason every time.
I agree. All right, Dave, to you. Category is Second Amendment. Should firearm ownership require government permission at all?
No. I mean, we shouldn't even be having these discussions over 2A or any of this. And you know, a lot of politicians on the old parties, it's a joke. They paint everybody who has weapons as this or that, and they use it all for it. What it comes down to is you don't have a right to infringe upon our rights to bear arms. And what it really comes down to is that buck's going to stop at the front door, my front door and many other people's front door if that day comes. I do fear one of the things that we see in history is that history repeating itself. We go through these cycles, and right now, we have a political elite class. We have a plutocracy that's working for the powers that be, and they have grown up. And for 100 years now, nothing's happened. But if you look back at American history and history before that, from Bunker Hill to Texas to the start of that revolution, it all begins when you show up at that front door to take our weapons. And they'll paint it as a tea party or this or that. It needs to stop before a lot of people get hurt.
Definitely. All right, Rebecca, to you. Categories taxes and spending. Are taxpayers funding too many things outside the federal government's proper role?
I mean, really, any government is spending more than it has any damn business doing. Case in point, surprise, where I got arrested. They're a town of about 150-ish thousand people, I think. Last I checked the census. They just passed $1 billion budget. For what? For what? Block cameras, police chief raises, hiring new city attorneys, hiring new city managers. And it's not a uniquely surprise experience either. It's something that is literally happening at every level of government, regardless of whether you're looking at municipalities, counties, federal government, things of that sort. It's rampant. We've completely thrown the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to being anything resembling fiscally conservative or spending our dollars wisely. And then to add insult to injury on top of all of this, then all of us who are essentially tax slaves at this point, forced to pay to fund these programs that we have no business even asking for funding in the first place, we're treated as if we're the bad people for asking questions of why something is costing this much, or if there's a better way, or if the contract was actually a competitive contract bid, or whatever the circumstance may be. You can spin it any way you want, but at the end of the day, we have a spending problem. And then we're also told to like live within our means when the government can't do that, which is just, you could do like a whole TED Talk series on that. But
All right. Chris, back to you. Categories medical freedom. Has healthcare become too controlled by corporations and government agencies?
Yes, it has. I call it the American medical mafia conglomerate. Yeah, they've become way too powerful over everything. They centralize our fear. They prey on everybody. People here connected to this show have lived in fear. We've lost loved ones. We've lost our income based on false sciences and bullshit that comes from the medical tyranny that we saw during COVID and ever since. We shouldn't have to live in fear based on our private medical autonomy, our private choices. But again, blood is currency.
Definitely is. All right, Noam, to you. Categories foreign influence. Is foreign influence a bigger threat than most Americans realize?
I think foreign influence is our biggest problem. We've got not just the one country, but multiple countries trying to buy favors with our elected officials. And I can't really say that we should ban the lobbyists, but we should stop the politicians from being able to take their money.
I agree. All right, Dave, to you. Categories campaign finance. Is big money drowning out ordinary voters? You're muted. I might have muted you. Nope, you muted yourself.
That's unusual. Yeah, I did mute myself. Good for me. But of course it is. We've got we got, and right now in Virginia, across the nation, we're looking at congressional races, Senate races. We're looking at millions of dollars. In fact, even at the local level, at state level, the House race I ran in, the opponent raised $350,000 between the last two cycles to have a House of Delegates position for 2 months. It is ridiculous. There needs to be, that's one thing we do need, is we need limits on campaign finance, how much people can raise, and it needs to be very small, in my opinion. We've got to cut off the money buying state elections. We've got to cut off the foreign investment buying federal elections. These people are bought and owned. So, yeah, it's got to end.
You definitely are. All right, Rebecca, to you. Category is privacy in the Fourth Amendment. Should government agencies need warrants for all digital surveillance?
I'm going to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin here and straight up just say, hell yeah, they need a warrant, because otherwise what you have is essentially a digital dragnet fishing expedition and witch hunt of people's Fourth Amendment rights being violated. And there's time and again where there's actually a journalist not too far from me in a neighboring municipality who did a bunch of FOIA requests, and she's put herself out there. I think her handle is like Jen's 2 cents on X. But she actually did a FOIA request of her municipality and what her like flock file was, as it were. And it straight up had people who weren't even her. It was tracking her vehicles and her vehicle movement, times of day, where she was going, and all kinds of things where literally it's very dystopian and very much like a Big Brother is watching you, sort of a thing. So if we don't, the warrant is supposed to be the check and balance in that. And if you can't get a warrant for it, then you don't need to be up in my business. Goodbye. I rest my case.
Definitely. All right. Chris, back to you. The category is protest and police power. Are police departments too militarized?
Yes, they are. I mean, again, blood is currency. Even with the police, we live in fear, and we can't even protest right now. We can't drive down the street without fear of violence. Looking in our rearview mirror, seeing if the cops are behind us because our sticker on our windshield is out. Shout out to Joe Hanoush. We know that they've got fully automatic weapons, and they're going to take our guns away from us if they pull us over. So yeah, military is far too police is far too militarized, and they go on not only blood as currency, but they thrive on fear as currency.
They definitely do. All right, Noam, to you. Category Second Amendment. Has the ATF become too powerful?
Absolutely. The ATF has come up with their own rules and decided to call them laws. And it's pretty much all of the departments now. The IRS, the Federal Reserve isn't really part of the government, is it? So they say. But yeah, every one of them, they decide what their rules are and how they're going to abide by the laws that are given from Congress. It's just, they're fucking stupid.
Did you get taller since I saw you last week?
It's my hat.
Oh, it's a hat. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, Dave, to you. Categories war powers. Did the War Powers Act fail to stop endless war?
Sorry, Dave. I started laughing.
I shouldn't even laugh at the hundreds of thousands that are dying out there right now. We've been bombing Iran. We've been funding nations. We've just sent more money over to Ukraine. Got approved to send more to them so that war can continue and everybody can continue to bank off of that. We got allies that we're sending money to who are randomly attacking multiple nations throughout the Middle East. And does the War Powers Act stop it? It's got to come to an end. I mean, I'm speaking as a combat veteran, as a paratrooper. That's why I just, hung around. It's got to end. We not only got to stop killing our own children overseas, we got to quit killing other people's children who are not attacking us. It is for profit. The War Powers Act is a failure. Our Congress is bought and sold. It is a game. A sad game.
Absolutely true. All right, Rebecca, to you. Categories qualified immunity and accountability.
Oh,
Should
here we
police
go.
officers be personally accountable for violating constitutional rights?
Fuck yes, they should. I said what I said. Because here's the reality of the situation. And I hate to use my own experience as like some sort of way where it seems like I'm platforming myself or what have you. But here's the reality of the situation. If you guys go back and you look at the video of my arrest and then you go back and review the roughly 90 minutes that I was in custody and the body cam footage, you're going to literally see not only excessive force, you're going to see I was refused a phone call. I was refused to know where my daughter was at the entire time I was in custody. I was refused to call a lawyer. I was told that's not how this works, verbatim by the arresting officer. And the assistant police chief came in at one point in time, said that literally, I asked to be arrested. We told you if you didn't leave, you were going to be arrested, and you said arrest me. And I said to him, and you can hear me on the video say, those fucking words never came out of my fucking mouth. Fuck you. And I said it that way on purpose because it needed to be recorded and it needed to be mentioned. So Judicial Watch, who's typically more of like a white right-wing organization, actually tried to get the ASPOST, which is the like Peace Officer Certification Board, to review what happened to me. ASPOST declined to do it. The Attorney General of Arizona declined to do it because the city of Surprise said, we're not even going to go under the false pretenses and investigate ourselves and pretend that we did nothing wrong. We don't even think it's worth an investigation. So if I seem like I'm mad, that's why. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Sorry, Free. I'll stop Larry sharpening my answers.
No worries. All right.
Based.
Back to you, Chris. Category is anti-war and non-intervention. Is nation building overseas making America weaker at home?
Absolutely. It's become part of the cultural warfare that we fight here at home. Like I said, with my first anti-war question, they perverted patriotism and turned in anything negative we have to say about current administration, past administrations, us murdering people overseas, anything we say negative against that, they pervert that and have now plugged it into the cultural war and turned us against each other here at home so they can keep doing what the hell ever they want, wherever they want, for whoever they want.
Definitely. All right. Noam, to you. Category is government spending. Would America be stronger with a dramatically smaller federal budget?
That's a tough one to answer because they should be having a service for us to pay for instead of a federal tax. If federal defense is important enough people will pay for it on their own. If anything that the government does, if it's important enough people will pay.
Definitely true. All right, Dave, to you. Category is ballot access. Would more ballot access create better representation for voters?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot like, I'm a big proponent of ranked choice. I know some people have kind of switched sides on that recently. But the more options we have, the more voices we have, I believe that will bring more people to the table to actually turn out and vote. We live in a society where we see 54, 50, 44, 42%, depending on which year and what's up, sometimes 30s, even showing up. Our neighbors, our family members have given up on the entire system. They've given up on the system as a whole. They're not even turning out to vote because they got nobody to vote for. And the ballot access rules, challenges that are out there in so many states prevent any third party, and again, independent, not just our party, but independent, Green Party, all the candidates get prevented, and the voters are left with one party. And depending on which state, that's going to be the Democrats with their GOP PAC, or that's going to be the GOP with their Democrat PAC, because it is entirely one single party. It's carving up our nation. It's dividing it into sections. You can have this, we'll have that, we'll play theater for a week, and we'll all make our bank. And who's paying for it? Us. Of course, more access would change that. It would bring more people back out to vote and maybe give hope back to that system.
Sounds good to me. All right. Last question of the contenders round is to Rebecca. Category is education. Should parents have complete control over where education dollars go?
Yes. How my child gets educated should be something that me as a parent is directly controlling and has some sort of say over it, regardless of what method I choose, whether that be homeschooling, a public school, private school, charter school, whatever it is. And here's the thing, when we don't allow the parents to dictate where those dollars are spent or how those dollars are spent, it's just like any other government organization. You have abuse of funds that is absolutely rampant. And you have a system that is overly inflated and paying for something absolutely crazy and borderline batshit insane, where they'll have like 16 secretaries in a front office doing nothing but shooting the shit and eating donuts, and you have kids taking notes on notebook paper because the school can't afford to do printouts of the PowerPoint notes. And if you think that that's a non-factual story, it literally happened to me my senior year of high school. There were like 6 secretaries up in the front office always doing fuck all, and I had to take notes, and that was really eye-opening for me as the senior taking a government class going, isn't this supposed to, and it's something that's lasted on me 15, 20 years later at this point.
All right. That is it for this round. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Let's check out the chat. We've got 100 to Grumpy Coke for the Kung Fu beard. All right. 100 to Chris for correctly saying the military-industrial complex has perverted patriotism. 100 to Chris for blood is their currency. 100 to Grumpy, solid beard. 200 to Dave for ballot access rant. 100 to Dave for the dynamic hand gestures. 100 to Massey for the hugely successful dare hat. 200 to Ms. Massey for bonkers. 200 to Rebecca, she's doing awesome. 100 to Rebecca for the red hair. 100 to Chris for the guy over 50 on a dating app camera angle. 200 to Chris for blood is their currency. 100 to Grumpy Gnome for taking on Hannibal. 200 to Grumpy for being the last living centurion. 200 to Dave for the Orwell shirt. Minus 26 to Grumpy for being around at the time of the Romans, but 116 back for not answering the question. 200 to Gnome for toppling the Roman Empire. 200 to Dave, but he needs to move to Southwest Virginia. 200 to Rebecca for sharing her personal story. I love fire. 100 to Rebecca for taking no shit. 200 Rebecca for getting detained. 200 Rebecca for the hat. 13 to Chris for the operator headset. 200 to Massey for fighting against lawyers. 100 to Massey for intimidating those political goobers. 900 to the other Massey. 10 points for every day in her speech gulag. 200 to Nomi, F the lockdowns. 200 to Dave, all gun laws are unconstitutional. 200 to Dave for the Rodney Dangerfield impersonation. 100 to Chris for the blurry camera background, hashtag anti-surveillance. 100 to Rebecca for knowing her town's budget. 200 to Chris for medical mafia. 100 to Grumpy for stop politicians from being shady. 200 to Dave for cut off the money. 100 to Dave for sounding like he should help me on his campaign, on her campaign. 200 to Chris for the aviators. 50 to Dave because infinite-sized organizations aren't individuals, Citizens United. 100 to Gnome, but abolish the ATF. 75 to Dave for laughing at the government organically. 200 to Massey for her TED Talk. 100 to Dave for being pro ranked choice voting. And 200 to Massey for exposing bloated bureaucracy. All right, let's see who won this round.
Hey, wait, I just got 75 more points. Did you see that?
Too late.
Not my 75.
Depends,
cut off.
Depends what Terry did.
I'm about to filibuster this whole thing.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. Is the way that goes.
I mean, why do I have to keep learning this lesson free?
Dave wins this round, 28-73. He will be advancing to the championship after the next round.
I think you miscounted. There's no way.
And Chris is still alive. Chris is still alive. If his score is higher than the second place score next round, he will be the wild card. And Steve was right there, just 13 points behind him, and Rebecca was right there too. So,
were my 900 points counted? I have questions.
Have you not seen the show before? You have to be a subscriber to get 200. So, all right. Rebecca, fourth place. What did you think?
Oh, it's always a blast coming on here, and I've had a shitty couple of weeks personally, so it's always a good time to come on and just roast the government because they fucking deserve it.
Awesome. And you can follow Rebecca on X at the other Massey. Appreciate you doing this, Rebecca. And third place was Grumpy Gnome, also known as Steve. How'd you think, man?
I love this show. It's absolutely wonderful. Everybody did a fantastic job, and I can't believe that I beat Rebecca.
I'm shocked too. I think Terry's been drinking in the back.
I think she is. She
It's
probably
it's her mystery roommate for Freedom Fest.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Passing her stuff from the minibar.
I already told everybody that was Steve Forbes. So Steve, shout out your shows and plug yourself, please.
Sunday nights, 9-11 p.m. Golden Shower Power Hour. It's definitely not for children. Monday nights when I have a guest is 3 Shots In. It's a little cleaner, more politics, sometimes libertarianism.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and you can follow Grumpy on X at Gnome4308. And there are his shows. Take a screenshot. Appreciate you doing this, brother. And second place was Chris. He might still be alive. What'd you think, Ben?
That's the highest I've ever scored when I've been on the show. It's awesome. It's been fun.
All right. Well, we'll see if you hold up. And you can follow Chris on X, and he changed his handle, so this was stupid to pull this up. I don't even care. Anti-War Chris
right down
79.
here.
Yeah, Anti-War Chris 79 is the place that we'll all not find him recently. So, all right. Thanks for doing this. And Dave, we will be back with you after the next round, so rejoin at that point. Congratulations on your win, and we will see you then. All right, so let me clear the infield here and bring in the next group.
Hey.
All right.
Yes. Yes, so much yes.
What is going on there? What in the world is going on? That's a lot. That's a lot of Rob. That's a lot of Rob. Is all I gotta say about that.
Rob, you can't wear that shirt unless you're ready to tear it live on the show.
I thought about it. Valerie warned me against it.
I love that you're dressed up, but also being watched. That makes me feel good.
Always. Black
that
camera's
makes me
got
feel
nothing
good.
on my wife.
Awesome, man. All right. So let me introduce y'all. Let's see. This girl, I just met her the other day at the convention, Amity Dolby. She's a Catholic libertarian activist. You can follow her on X at AmityLee13. How are you, Amity?
I'm great. I think the algorithm did a great job hooking us up.
There you go. I like it. All right. And next is the Hulkamaniac himself, Rob Yates. He ran for LNC chair. He is the LP North Carolina Communications Director, ran for Charlotte Mayor in 23 and 25. And you can follow him on X at ProsperCLT 2023. How are you, Hulkamaniac?
I'm ready to tear it up, brother.
I like it. Oh, yeah.
That's the most Hulk impression you're getting, so don't worry.
I can only do Macho Man, so I'll just do Macho Man back. So, oh, yeah. All right. And last but not least, my buddy Brent. He is the host of the Aiming Up podcast, and he also does his merch at anarchosyndicate.com. You can follow him on X, B Gets Better, and Anarcho SCC. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, man. Really happy to be here and debuting the new studio. So for people that love the lamp in the background, I'm sorry. This is what you got now.
Did your mom come and take back the Tiffany lamp? Is that what happened there?
She did. Pissed at her.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's jump into it here. All right, these are the ringers. They've won some. They've been on a bunch. So this is technically the group that you probably will have to beat to get to the championship. So this should be good. And let's go Amity first. Category is pro-life and human dignity. Does a civilized society have a duty to protect life at every stage?
So we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. And our founding fathers affirmed in that document that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government was established specifically to ensure that those rights aren't infringed upon. So if the government must exist, which I don't think it should at the federal level, but if it should, at the very least, it should protect life. Now, as a libertarian, protecting life, especially with the unborn, deals less with focusing on punitive laws, in my opinion, for abortion, and more about the government taxing us less so that people are in better economic shape to start families. Compassionate people have more means to be charitable to women who might be in crisis pregnancies. And government should reduce regulations that are cost prohibitive for adoption. So I think that would help life flourish at every stage.
All right, and my biggest error of the night so far, I forgot to add Jake to the stage. What a bonehead move that was. Sorry,
Fuck you,
brother.
Jake.
So for those of you that have never done live streaming, you're not supposed to have this many people. This piece of shit software is not meant for this. So we had all these people backstage and everything. And I dragged Jake to the right spot. And then, I don't know, I lost you, man. I apologize.
I was sitting here like, I was like this, like, what the hell?
Well, you have a lot of friends because my phone is blowing up right now. Like, what are you doing, you idiot? What is going on? So, all right, let me introduce you real quick. Jake is a Liberty First advocate. You can follow him on X at Left Coast Speed. How are you, buddy? Other than just, completely slandered by me.
I'm great. I'm also repping the Anarcho Syndicate. So shout out to Brent.
Hell yeah.
His good stuff. No, I'm glad I made it in. I figured I was like, well, I guess I'm out of this one. I'm just going to join the spaces later, but I'm glad I got in.
Well, no, in my defense, I put the names on the slide, so I would have picked up on my error.
That was the reason I was still sitting here. I figured my question was going to come up, and you were going to scratch your head for a second.
Yeah, I apologize, man. A lot going on. All right, let's get back into it here. All right, so next question is to you, Rob. Category is mass surveillance. Are Americans being tracked more than they realize?
When I first got active in the libertarian political movement, really active about 7, 8 years ago, someone said they were on a watch list. I was like, oh, you're full of yourself. You're not on a watch list. Now I'm like, we're all probably on many, many watch lists. Every single thing you do, your phone is tracking. You talk about something and see what ads pop up. Those little cameras, shout out to Ryan Brown, chair of LPNC, for his DFlock NC website. We were tracking flock cameras the whole ride to Grand Rapids. They're everywhere. Police in Houston just got a law passed where stores have to have a camera that records everything in the streets and give the police access to it. Privacy is a myth. It is dead. You are being tracked constantly.
All right. Next up is Brent. Category is AI. Is AI more dangerous in the hands of governments than private companies?
Oh, where's the line anymore? It seems like there's this sort of blurred line or boundary between, hey, shout out my cat, between corporations and the government. There's this sort of perverse incentive between these two. The structure is enmeshed in such a way that you almost can't disambiguate. Everything is backstopped and funded by the government. The government is providing these massive contracts to the NSA, to the CIA, to the Department of Defense. For all the cloud providers, all of the AI data centers, all of this is being handled at the government level. And I think they're trying to regulate this now to even give themselves more control. So I think AI is incredibly dangerous in the hands of government, but I have a hard time even figuring out where the boundaries are around that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Jake, to you. Category is false flags and psyops. Should intelligence agencies face more public oversight?
I mean, yeah, of course. Anytime that there's any sort of psyop or false flag, which seems to be almost every day lately, it's like there's zero accountability. Somebody's behind it, but there's so many 3-letter agencies, you're never going to figure out which one it is. And even if you did, there's no accountability for it. So, I mean, absolutely. We could even go to the extreme and get rid of all the 3-letter agencies and have none of them and make that a private thing. But nobody's ready for that.
See, this is why you're on the show, for base takes like that. I like it. All right. Amity, back to you. The category is anti-intervention. Are endless wars bankrupting America morally and financially?
Oh, yeah, both. I think I'm going to answer these in reverse. So just since 9/11 alone, U.S. involvement in war has cost well over $10 trillion. And just to put that in perspective, I will show you my debt badge that Representative Massey gave me at one of his campaign events. And you will see that we are almost at $40 trillion in debt. Almost over a quarter of that is from the wars from the bombs dropping, from sending our military to die for pointless wars so that oligarchs and the well-connected can get rich. So yes, our country is financially bankrupt. And put that little prop back there. You know, the fact that people in MAGA believe Trump so much that the base will say things like, those kids in Gaza deserve to die because they're going to grow up and be terrorists like their parents. I mean, since when do we charge children with the sins of their parents? That is the most morally bankrupt way you could possibly think about another human being. And then the most morally bankrupt people of all are the people in DC who are perpetuating these wars. They are in it for money and power, and they don't care about the cost of human life. You know, they talk about it's for democracy, or so that Iran won't get a nuke that's coming around in 2 weeks, which, by the way, Iran has been 2 weeks away from a nuke my entire life. So yes, absolutely. We are morally and financially bankrupt from these wars.
All right. Rob, to you. Category is gun rights. Would armed citizens deter more crime than additional gun laws?
First of all, Amity, you should change your name to Carrot Top for being the prop comic of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Shameless.
I'm a brunette, though.
In the words of the great Robert Heinlein, an armed society is a polite society. The gun is the great equalizer. If I'm bringing the Hulkamania on you, there's not much a small woman can do in most cases unless she has a weapon. Stay strapped, people.
Definitely. All right, Brent, to you. Category is political action. Can political change still happen through the ballot box?
Well, yeah. The question is, what kind of change, right? I know a lot of people rightly point out that you can have some sort of change in positive fashion, right? But most of the time, right? Let's be honest, incrementalism only goes one way. You know, we have less liberty, we have more debt, we have more surveillance. It only really goes one way. So I think in sum total, political action isn't going to get us where we want to go. I think we're going to have to, if we're really serious about liberty, which I don't believe most people are, we're going to have to do something different than what we're doing. I think requesting that our masters give us some more permissions, that's not the way to go. Or the founding fathers had it right. They weren't little bitches. They did the dangerous things. They stood up when they had to. They got kinetic when they needed to. And that's the only way out of this. And it's a really uncomfortable truth that the liberty community needs to start to wrestle with.
I love when I get to ask questions that we've been arguing about online for 2 years. So that was fun for me. So thanks. All right, Jake, to you. Category is endless wars. Are taxpayers funding wars with no clear mission or end point?
I mean, yeah, these are just the ones that we know about too. I mean, how many times has the Pentagon failed an audit? How many times have we ran some secret op somewhere else to destabilize a government or something where we don't even know where the tax dollars are going for? So yeah, for the ones that we know about, sure. But I think it's like the iceberg. There's the ones that you know about and there's the ones that you don't.
Absolutely. All right, Amity, back to you. The category is civil liberties and government power. Are Americans losing constitutional rights in the name of safety?
Yeah, I mean, every day you see the government trying to pass another law to suppress speech or to take away our rights to defend ourselves, which, by the way, all gun laws are unconstitutional. So, you know, they say that, you know, we need these gun laws to, like red flag laws, to save society from people who might be dangerous. Well, you can't punish people for things they might do. Laws should not be put in place, especially laws that suppress our constitutional rights, which are actually our natural rights. The Constitution is just supposed to protect the government from suppressing those rights. Ironic, huh?
Definitely. All right, Rob, back to you. Category is crypto. This is brought to us by our sponsor, Xano. Rob, the question is, would central bank digital currencies give governments too much power?
Shout out to Xano. Hope you all went and got some free Xano in Grand Rapids. Central bank digital currencies, of everything out there, all the issues we talk about, that's the hill that we should die on. That is the final frontier. Once they control all of our finances, your car will be shut off because you bought the wrong book. You will not be able to purchase groceries because you followed the wrong person. China has already implemented a social credit score, and it's happening. That's what's coming. That's what they want. That is the ultimate control tool. We need to fight it with everything we have.
Love the Xano shout out. I hope everybody did download the wallet on their phone and check that out. Thanks for doing that. Brent, to you. Category still crypto. Is decentralized money the future, whether governments like it or not?
To be determined, man. I think there's some people that are doing great work in the DeFi space, and I really encourage that, and I hope more people start adopting it. But until people do start adopting it in mass, I don't think it's going to move the needle at all, right? And I think people are tethered to the dollar, they're tethered to fiat currencies, and as Rob mentioned, if we allow a CBDC, it's fucking over, man. Like they can track everything. We have Palantir that's on the horizon. I didn't mention this in the earlier AI question, but there's something called data enrichment, right? So when the government has information about you, they can lawfully collect. They can go on the open market and they can purchase from data brokers all the other information about you. That's what Palantir is doing, and then stitching it together to sort of track all of your movements, all of your activity, your shopping patterns, everything about you. And if we have that in place, like there's not really any escaping it, whether there's some DeFi solutions on the horizon or not. Like I think this is, I agree with Rob, this is the hill that we have to die on, and it's incredibly dangerous.
Great answer. Do me a favor, check your vertical in between answers here so the shorts turn out good. Jake, to you. Category is Patriots and talking points. Are political influencers becoming paid mouthpieces for power?
Becoming? Shit, we've been living with that for a while now. It's you go on X, and other than people who you know are your friends, you got bot accounts and those patriots with the Y. It's like, and it doesn't matter which side. Everybody's pushing a narrative, everybody's pushing a message, and there are so many people that are large accounts that rapidly grow in followers that are pretty obviously not genuine, and there's tons of them, and you can kind of tell, like in the White House Correspondents' Dinner thing happened, how I mean it was not even a few minutes afterwards and there's almost identical verbiage being pushed out by so many accounts on the right, and then an hour later the left is doing the same exact thing. So it's pretty obvious that the narratives nowadays are not being pushed through. I mean, they're still being pushed through traditional legacy media for the boomers, obviously, but for everyone else, they've reached new media, and they're really going after everybody in every space that they can.
Definitely true. All right. Amity, back to you. The category is economic freedom. Is the government making it harder for ordinary people to build wealth?
Oh, absolutely. The more the government spends and prints what they don't have, the more inflation rises. And actually, if anyone wants a good primer on economics and what the government has done to our money, that's the title of this book. You can get it free from the Mises Institute. So check that out. And, you know, the middle class is disappearing. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. And the average age for a first-time home buyer now is 40 years old. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, you know, young people are waiting to start families. They can't afford to buy homes. They have 2 and 3 jobs just to try to make rent. So, yeah, it's the fault of the government spending and the way they pick winners and losers. The big corporations get bailouts and regulations favor them. And the American taxpayer is the one that suffers.
I can't tell if you're doing QVC or Oprah's book club. What's going on there? My Lord. All right. Rob, back to you. Categories public education. Would competition improve education more than more federal funding?
Since the Department of Education started, every single year, our education system, our performance, our children's performances and tests against other countries has gone down. We've gone from the first in the world to 32nd in the world in math and reading. The only thing that can save our children's education is a truly competitive system. The free market is always the most efficient solution for providing goods and services. The government is always the worst service, the worst medium for trying to accomplish things. It's time to abolish the Department of Education. It's time to abolish public schools. Let's have a smart next generation.
I like it. All right, Brent, back to you. Category is political propaganda. Has propaganda become more sophisticated in the digital age?
Oh, has it ever? And people don't realize what's going on. You know, like I know I've been talking about TPUSA a lot, but they're masters of propaganda. You know, they're putting all these people at live events. That's intentional. These are called pseudo events, according to Edward Bernays, who's the father of modern propaganda. And it's very curated. If you paid attention, they bring people to the microphone whose questions have been vetted. They bring the dumbest blue hair up that's going to get completely destroyed for clips, you know, and they feed the questions to the TPUSA. You know, it's usually Charlie is not here anymore, but they would have the answers ready to go, and they had sort of the takedown already prepared. And they would just have these viral clips and everybody would cheer and the crowd would go wild. And then at the same time, these people are getting geofenced. I'm not sure if you understand, but the TPUSA crew owns a company called Superfeed Technologies. Erica Franzfe's mom, Laurie Franzfe, is on the board along with Tyler Boyer. These people it's a private company and they're owning all of your data. So they're basically taking all of your IMEI, the phone identifier for you. And like I said, doing data enrichment. And then through data brokers, doing a whole bunch of things to sort of send you social media content that vibes with you to try to fundraise with this stuff. And that's just one example, right? So everywhere we go, propaganda is everywhere. You look at the Gunther Eaglemans of the world and all these Benny Johnson, these bullshit influencers that are on social media, they've become the new Fox News. They've taken the same paradigm and then rinsed and repeated it, and everybody acts like these people are selling or giving you their authentic view, but it's all just bought and sold, paid for propaganda bullshit.
Great answer. All right, Jake, to you. Categories: property tax and taxation. Do Americans truly own property if missing a tax payment can take it away?
I mean, the obvious answer is no. And I've seen a lot of push in certain states. I think your state is doing away with it or did do away with it. But I see a lot of push about, retirees shouldn't have to. Nobody should pay property tax whatsoever. Property tax should not be a thing. It should all be like Alaska, where you move there, you buy your property, when it's paid for, it's done. Doesn't matter your age, income, none of that statistical stuff matters. If you're paying for a property and it's paid off, you own it free and clear. Zero property tax. The other things will be funded voluntarily if they need to be funded bad enough.
Definitely. And they're not really getting rid of property taxes in Florida, but that's a whole different story. But all right, Amity, back to you. Category is criminal justice reform. Are too many Americans being punished for victimless crimes?
Oh, of course. There should be no crime if it's victimless. We're supposedly the freest nation on the planet, yet we have the most prisoners per capita of any country on earth. So incarcerating people for victimless crimes, all it does is it destroys families, livelihoods. It hurts the poor much more than it does people who have means to pay their fines or buy their way out of a jail sentence. So, no victim, no crime.
Definitely agree with that. All right, Rob, back to you. Categories: police reform. Has qualified immunity protected too many bad cops?
Qualified immunity, of all the scams and stupid ideas the government has pushed it on us, is top three. There was a case in DC 17 years ago where a cop shot a guy in the back of the knee as he was jumping across a creek with a shotgun, and he got off on qualified immunity. A year later, different cop shot a different guy jumping over the same creek in the back of the knee, and he also got off on qualified immunity because they didn't jump over the same spot of the same creek. We need to get rid of qualified immunity immediately, yesterday. It is a get out of jail free card for the state street soldiers to come in and do whatever they want.
Definitely agree with that. All right, Brent, back to you. Category is homesteading. Is self-sufficiency becoming necessary in modern America?
No, it's not becoming. It's far past time. It is a flashing red critical emergency right now. Like if you're not self-sufficient, when this Titanic hits the iceberg, you are fucked. Your family is fucked. And that's one of the things that I'm ashamed of myself, that I sort of, I've been in this space a long time. I study economics. I knew it was coming, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to ride this out. I got a really high paying tech job. I'm just going to keep trying to stack and like not prepare and not buy the land. And it's like, we're in that situation now where that's our number one priority. We're moving off grid. We're building the homestead, trying to develop a network of people we can trade with. Like, and it is, something that, I'm able to do because I have a very well-paying job. But for regular people, sometimes it takes, years, sometimes a decade. And if you're not on top of it right now, when the shit hits the fan, you're going to be fucked. Do you remember COVID? Do you remember when the supply chains broke down? People were punching each other in Walmart over toilet paper, dude, like 2 weeks in. Do you have any idea what the collapse is going to look like and how bad it's going to be? And if you're not self-sufficient, if you're not prepared, it's over, man. No one's coming to save you. We can talk about politics and we can talk about changing the world and getting people on board with the ideas of liberty. Great. That's awesome. We should always be doing that. But if you're not taking care of yourself first, if you're not putting your family first, if you're not securing your future, you're done, man.
Definitely true. Scary stuff. All right, Jake, to you, category is free speech. Is protecting offensive speech the real test of free speech?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, because offensive to who? I mean, there's really nothing anybody can say that offends me, but someone right next to me might be offended by, pretty basic stuff. So I guess it's the test of it. But to me, there is really no such thing as offensive speech. It's all just speech. It's really what your actions are that come from the speech.
Absolutely. All right. Amity, to you, last round of this round. Categories pro-life and human dignity. Can a society defend human rights while deciding some lives matter less?
No. So I am an advocate for the consistent ethic of life. And it amazes me how many fellow pro-life advocates can devote their entire lives to protecting the preborn and then wave their patriotic flags for war. If life is sacred, it's sacred in every stage, everywhere, whether in the womb or in some Middle Eastern country that most people can't find on the map, or even in prisons or deportation detention centers. Whether someone is a citizen or undocumented or addicted or elderly or disabled, all humans bear inherent dignity from the womb to the tomb.
Definitely. And Kay, if you're listening, come backstage if you can. I would appreciate it. Rob, to you. Categories mass surveillance. Should the government need a warrant to access all digital communications?
Trick question. The government should never be able to access digital communications. We should be able to access the government's digital communications. Get a warrant implies that they have some authority over your stuff. They have no authority over your stuff, your communications, your house, your car. Get them out.
I like it. All right, Brent, to you. Category is AI. Could AI eliminate more freedom than it creates?
Yeah, it certainly could, because it can fucking kill us all. Once AI is capable of being embedded in a robot that's able to articulate itself and to go around and mine the raw materials that's required to make it, and it is smart enough to reprogram itself and to create new hardware substrate, change the silicon, change the compute layer, I think it's terrifying thinking about what it can do. And I think this is an existential threat bigger than government. I think this is something that is going to escape the control of governments. Like, mankind is not going to be able to keep control of this. So I 100% think so. And I think it's going to happen a lot faster than people are ready for.
Scary stuff, man. All right. Last question goes to Jake. Categories false flags and psyops. Has propaganda become harder to recognize in the digital age?
Yes and no. There's really a pretty foolproof formula for propaganda, and that really hasn't changed over the years. It's really just been new ways to introduce it. I don't know if you're familiar with Chase Hughes, but I follow a lot of the stuff that he does, and he breaks it down step by step into just 4 or 5 things that need to happen for something to be a psyop. And they've been doing it since, printed media all the way up to the new media. So it doesn't really matter what the medium is. The steps are the same, and they're really good at it. And people fall for it every time.
They definitely do. All right, enter your scores in the chat. Tell us what you thought of this round. Let's jump into the chat. It is hopping. You guys have lots of fans. I'm not surprised. Points to Rob, the Hulkamaniac. Points to Amity for not wearing a weird hat. I like it.
Thanks,
points to Brent for sacrificing a goat in the background. Points to Amity and points to the Robster, both for being mutuals. Points to Rob for the threads, but minus 100 because his boomer AOL handle that I can't ever find. Points to Amity for almost getting my campaign slogan right. 100 off the bat to Amity for saying it. Government should not exist. Points to Jake for being forgotten. Yeah, I'm never going to live that one down. That was stupid. Points to Jake for confusing Free. No, that was way before Jake showed up. That was Daniel. That was for sure Daniel. Points to Amity for making adoption easier. Minus to Free for forgetting Jake. Here we go again. Yeah, bad Free. Points to Jake for being patient. Points to Rob for being on as many watch lists as me. Oh, and Erico Cat's here. What's up, buddy? Points to Brent.
There you go.
That's fair. Points to Brent so he doesn't sacrifice me to the devil.
No promises, Cy.
Points to Jake for his patience and waiting to get on the show. Minus to Brent for the cat. My dog Trooper typed that one.
Broke even.
Points to Jake for the amazing background. Points to Amity for her badass debt badge. Points to Amity for the debt badge, but minus 10 for showing off. Points to Amity for the props and the name drops. Nice rhyme there. Points to Amity for being the prettiest libertarian, only second to Tub. Is that what it says? Tub? 200 to Amity for being real about charging kids the sins of parents and being morally bankrupt. Points to Rob, the gun is the threat equalizer. Points to Amity, we are morally bankrupt from these wars. Points to Rob, I feel Rob needs a more audacious hat. That's Thomas Queter, my buddy, and also my Uber driver all week at the convention. Points to Rob for calling out props while in costume. Points to Rob, who knew he was smart. This is news to us. This is news to us. Points to Rob if he pulls off a more ridiculous hat. Dr. Belaze here. What's up, buddy? Points to Amity. Points to Brent. We have to do something different than we're doing for Liberty. Travis has got points to Amity for morally and financially bankrupt. That's for my wife. She punched the roof of the car in agreement. I like it. Points to Jake for his background. Points to Jake. How many times has the Pentagon failed an audit? Points to Brent for standing his ground. My homie. Points to Amity for protecting children from the sins of their parents. Points to Rob, Final Frontier. Points to Amity for agreeing Americans are losing their privacy in the name of protecting us from those that choose to break the law. I'm going into the bunker after the show. It's probably a safe move. Points to Rob, social credit score is coming. Points to Rob for standing up against our inevitable dystopian fate on Twixter podcast. Points to Rob for the Zoom shout out, 125 for using it while picking out your outfit. Points to Brent. CBDC is going to be a financial toast to everyone except them. Points to Brent for the mention of Palantir tracking not good. Points to Jake because Axe is trash. Points to Jake for promoting Just for Men, Touch of Gray, Pumpkin Spice Latte.
He's got a good eye.
Points to Amity for how she answers her questions. Points to Amity, middle class is disappearing and wages aren't keeping up with inflation. An average first-time home buyer is 40. She knows her facts. Points to Rob, public education sucks. Shout out to Valerie. Miss you, Valerie. Points to Rob for understanding the harm government schools have done to our kids. That's cool. Points to Rob, free market education. Points to Brent for calling out the Hunter Biden psyop. Points to Jake for saying smart people things. Points to Jake, new media. Lots of points to Amity, no victim, no crime. Points to Brent, nailed it with the homesteading. Points to Brent for homesteading. Points to Brent, no one's coming to save you. I hereby name Brent honorary Appalachian and award him 100 points.
I will accept.
That's better than my fake prizes. Points to Jake, free speech rules. Points to Amity for saying, paraphrased, life is life. Points to Rob. Warrants you don't deserve. No stinking warrants. I like it, Chris. All right, let's check it out and see who's moving on here. Wow, it was a close one here. Let's check it out. Amity with the win, 4860. Rob, 4770. Brent, 4700. And Jake, 4675. Jake, I finally let you on the show. You did great. What did you think?
I would have done worse if I wouldn't have got all those points for being patient. So I'm glad I stuck around. At least I didn't lose any points.
Yeah, me making an ass out of myself works out well for people a lot of times. So I'm happy to help out there. I'll take the assist. All right, you can check out Jake on X, Left Coast Speed. And I hope you're going to do a show again soon, man. I really like you, and I hope that's coming soon. And looking forward to seeing you at Freedom Fest too.
Absolutely, yeah. We're doing a show there. That'll be the last kind of hurrah, but we're doing one.
Awesome. Brent, third place, just missed it. What'd you think, man?
I can't be too mad. You know, the Hulkamania outfit, that was top notch, and I know that that was the difference between me and Rob, and so I can't really be mad about that.
Yeah, and give a shout out to your show, bud.
Yeah, so Aiming Up podcast. I really love that show, but I'm also launching the Brent Freeman show. I'm going to do a little bit of just me talking to the camera about certain events, because I think my Twitter is pretty fucking unhinged if you just read it. So I'm more reasonable in person. So I want to try to give some more nuance and some more perspective on the hot topics of the day.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and like you said, this was Murderer's Row. So, I mean, this was a really, really tough team to go against. So you and Jake did excellent. And appreciate you guys being subscribers. Appreciate you guys putting up with all the technical issues and running late and all the other stuff going on. And thanks for doing this. Amity and Rob, stay where you're at. You move on, and let's move on. Appreciate you guys.
Later, guys.
And let's see here.
Hello.
Hi.
Just
nice
the two of us.
All right. This is the championship round. I don't know where we lost Rob to, but let's see.
I'm supposed to be in bed.
Maybe I'll just leave him off the screen and see if he gets points for it. Let's see if that's a good strategy.
I'll text him. Is he still backstage?
He probably just is hitting the head or something.
Oh, there he is.
Let's see here.
Ah, I like the switch.
Oh, boy.
Oh, go Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Between the hot tricks down south and the face tricks up here.
My son's watching, so I can't let him down. I have to win.
All right.
Okay, we got
All right. So, like I said in the beginning, this was a lot of fun for me because usually I ask you guys the questions that, are in your wheelhouse, your areas that you're passionate about, what you're doing work in, the stuff But so I said, if we're going to do a championship round, I want to really test you guys on the stuff that I think is the most important stuff going on, the biggest challenges in the liberty movement, the stuff that matters today. So I hope you're up for it because this is going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, let's go and let me add this back here. And we'll just go in the order that it just puts you in here. So, all right, first question is to you, Amity. Category is war and foreign policy. Has America become the world's police force at the expense of its own people?
Absolutely. I mean, we're spending trillions on wars. We have bombed, our government has bombed 8 countries just since Trump took office last year. And we're still a part of NATO, which was supposed to protect countries from the Soviet Union, which should have been disbanded when the Berlin Wall came down. So, we're spending all this money that is unnecessary. We don't need to be protecting other countries from their governments and a lot of times replacing them with even worse governments in regime change. And the American taxpayer is definitely suffering for it.
Definitely agree. All right. Next up is Rob. Category is surveillance and privacy. Have Americans already lost far more privacy than they realize?
So I talked about it last answer. you're being tracked. Everything you do, privacy is dead. Let's talk about a specific one: the Bank Secrecy Act, the Know Your Customer, BSA, KYC. You hear about it all the time. The FBI went in after January 6th and used people's ATM withdrawals to track people that were there. They're tracking everything. They're tracking all of your communications. Anything electronic is going into a giant database that NSA maintains. All your financial transactions, they report on them regularly. They can, if you do something they think is suspicious, they can go check it out. You make a withdrawal or a I can't think of the word, but if you put money in of over $600 on any of the financial, like PayPal or Venmo, they have to alert that. There is no more privacy. It has been taken from us, and it's time to get it back.
Yeah, KYC, know your customer laws. All right, K to you. Category is corporate state collusion. Has the merger of corporate and government power become the real ruling class?
Absolutely. Corporations have a lot of power. Like there's mainly 3 companies that own most corporations and companies in the country. They definitely have a hand in elections and also shaping the media as well, which shapes, the narratives that are pushed. It's a monopoly, and it needs to go away. We need in our country to have the small businesses come back, and we need things in place for those to thrive. Back to parallel systems. That's one way that we can help undo that, is to support local and support small, so that there's less. We need to take the money from the corporations, and we need not to support them. And we can do that through parallel societies.
Absolutely. All right, Dave, to you. Category is parallel economies. Are parallel economies becoming necessary for personal freedom?
It's kind of a vague question there. Yes and no. I mean, I think if we look at what we need to do to plan for what's ahead and to make sure that our families are secure, yes, they would necessarily be out there. Reality is what's necessary for personal freedom is to step up yourself, get involved in your community, get involved in the politics, and get involved in every aspect of your community that you can while we still have time, because we're about to lose our communities if things keep going the way they're going.
I agree. All right, Amity, back to you. The category is the collapse of the American dream. Is the American dream being priced out of existence?
It is. Our inflation is out of control. The government spending is causing it. And so, for example, median home price right now, I believe it's around $430,000 in the US. That means that a household needs to make between $120,000 and $130,000 a year just to afford that house. And that's if you're out of debt, which doesn't happen very often in households these days, because people are putting even groceries and other essentials on credit cards. The median wages in the US, I believe, is $85,000 for a household. So most people can't even afford to buy a home until well into their middle age. Everything's too expensive. I think one thing that we need to think about is if there's things we can't change, then we need to find ways to find our happiness regardless. In my life, for a few years, I had 4 generations living in my household, elderly because they needed taken care of, but the younger adults, and because they couldn't afford to move out on their own. So, find the joy in it, and just keep trucking. When the government gives you lemons, make lemonade. That was really cheesy, but
Doesn't get any cheesier than that. All right. Mr. Peanut, to
I had
you.
to.
Category is local power versus federal power. Would Americans be better governed closer to home?
obviously, and it starts at the smallest minority, the great Ayn Rand, the individual. There's no one better positioned to make decisions about you and your life than you. It expands to the family. Your incentive is to make things better for your family. You should be making those decisions, not some, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent master in DC. Then you go to local communities. It shouldn't be people in state capitals deciding like what roads to build or if we should implement taxes or how to fund things at a local level. And the wider you get with the net that they cast, the worse off it is. The less efficient the services are, the more money they waste, the more opportunity for fraud and graft. That's how government works. They use money from other states, from other people that they've stolen their tax dollars, and they hold people hostage with it. You don't want to make the drinking age 21 in your state? Well, we're not going to give you money for your roads. But it's just a big scheme. It's just a big scam. Local decentralization is the way to go.
I agree. All right, KDU. Categories culture wars and political distraction. Has political tribalism replaced independent thinking?
Absolutely. We don't have whole lot of independent thinkers anymore. I think right now there's a lot of people, especially who follow the Uniparty, the R&D. They listen to the narratives. They believe that everything that's being done is right without even challenging it in their mind and thinking through it. Like, okay, we were promised this isn't happening, or they're doing this, and this is happening instead. We really need to think. I mean, look at our president who bullies his Congress people. Pretty much, you got to vote this way or you're deplorable, with all of his things that he puts out on social media. I mean, if Congress people can't vote the way that their constituents wants in their districts, and there's a fear that if you don't do what the president wants, you're not going to get reelected, then I mean it's almost like a dictatorship. We really need our elected officials not to think of themselves in a tribal way, because if we're all in it together, and I mean, is the ship really being steered in the way that it should? Have we thought about that? So whenever issues come up, we need to think about it. Like, is this morally right? Does this follow the Constitution? So definitely, I just, anyone who's listening to this, I just ask yourself to question everything. Don't just accept what's being told. Question and think for yourself, and we'd be better off.
Well said. All right, Dave, to you. Category is artificial intelligence and human freedom. Will artificial intelligence increase freedom or increase control?
Artificial intelligence, along with all the technological advancements we've seen, will decrease human intelligence. It will decrease human intelligence so that the government can take more control. And I apologize because I'm going to throw my age out there, but I'm up there in years, and I've got children and grandchildren, and I got children who now, no matter how hard I try, I worry that they can get home if their GPS gets cut off one day. I fully believe technology is replacing our own awareness, our own situational awareness, and our own capabilities. And one day, it's not the technology that's going to enslave us. It's not the AI that's going to enslave us. It's the people at the levers who are just going to flip it off. You want to go home today, Susie? You're going to do what I say. And Susie and Jim and Joe and Mary are like, well, I ain't going home if I don't. What do you want me to do, Master? It terrifies me where this is going, both with AI technology and everything, and our dependence upon it. We've got to teach our children, and I got to shake them. Learn your way around. Know where you are, and learn how to deal without the technology.
Great points. All right, Amity, back to you. The category is immigration and labor laws. Have politicians failed both American workers and immigrants at the same time?
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go in a different direction than you may think. Where the American people and immigrants have been failed by our politicians is the rhetoric that gets half of the Americans, the red hat wearing Americans, to scream, deport them all, like the immigrants are the ones that are the enemy. When most of them came here, yes, some came illegally, but even the ones that came illegally were given, a cell phone and a stipend and a place to live until their court date, right? And, the Democrats will say, well, the immigrants don't get welfare. They're not allowed to get welfare. Well, so they come in, they're told to come in and claim asylum. And then as asylum seekers, they are allowed to get welfare. So the politicians know exactly what they're doing. They pit one side against the other, red versus blue, citizens versus immigrants, when the real enemy is what the government is doing to human beings who just want to come here and live their lives peacefully, find work, and you end the welfare system, you end the immigration problem. People that want to come here simply to work or have the means already to support themselves or have family here will come here. And those who want to come here just to abuse the system that they know is available to them won't come. It's that simple.
All right. Rob, back to you. Category is healthcare and medical freedom. Has the healthcare system become too controlled by the government and corporations?
So first, I want to say, Chris, you took points away for not saying the government is also impotent. The fact is, Lindsey Graham is never impotent when Benny Johnson's in town, so I didn't feel right saying that one. Here in North Carolina, we are a certificate of need state. The government has limited the ability to build actual healthcare facilities without its permission, and then they have the audacity to tell us that we have a problem with rural communities being able to access healthcare. Since the Obamacare, the was going to grant healthcare to everyone free, somehow they're going to magically make it free. Healthcare costs have gone up something like 3,700%. Somehow, insurance companies' returns have also gone up hundreds of multiple times over. I'm not saying that you should go out and murder healthcare CEOs, but I'm saying I get it. We live in a kleptocracy. Government involvement has not ruined healthcare. It is government and corporation involvement, and they're the same thing. And that's ruined our healthcare. It's made it expensive. You can't get tests you need. Insurance companies are playing doctor by denying care, and not the fun kind of playing doctor or the kind that Benny Johnson does with Lindsey Graham. We need to get government out of healthcare far, far away because our health is suffering.
I agree. All right. You knew there was going to be a crypto question, and Kay drew the crypto question. Category is crypto and financial independence. Should Americans have the right to use private digital money without government interference?
100%. Absolutely. All currency. Why should that one, be monitored differently than any currency? I do think that, it's a private thing. I don't think that it should be taxed, though. Kind of like with gold and silver. I believe that we should be able to use those currencies beyond, the dollar, the set currency for the state. If we choose, that we should have that freedom. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, Dave, to you. Category is corruption and political elites. Are unelected bureaucracies now more powerful than voters?
Absolutely, they are. I think we got to look at the whole level from the voter up with it, from the voter to the candidate to where the money's coming from. Look, I love the word Rob used. I use it all the time. We live in a plutocracy. We have a political class, but when we think of that political class, make no mistake, that political class is there to serve an elite class, which is our corporate entities, our wealthy and overseas entities that own our political class to rule over us. So if we don't think that the bureaucracy is much stronger than the voter, they get what they want. They don't want voters. They want to make us give up on the system. And I think we're at those last fights right now. And again, I think I mentioned in an earlier session, we're down to where less than 50% are even showing up to vote. They've given up. They like to call it voter apathy, and it's not the right Kent. They do not want us there. They want the die-hard 10 to 15 percent of both parties to be out and deciding who's going to be ruling over us. So the political class serves the bureaucracy with it.
Definitely agree. All right. I think this is the last 4 questions of the night. First to you, Amity. The category is energy and infrastructure. Should nuclear power be expanded aggressively in the United States?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the cleanest form of energy that we have available. It's zero emission energy. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't see why, and it's not as expensive as some others as well. So I don't see why there's so many government regulations surrounding its expansion throughout the country.
I agree. All right. Rob, to you. Categories: technology and social control. Could digital ID systems become the backbone of a surveillance society?
So I've mentioned this before. I lived in China for a couple of years. Digital ID is the backbone of a surveillance society. In China, they have apps that you have to scan. You get a red, yellow, or green, and that'll let you know if you're allowed to move on to the next spot. They used it. They tried it out during COVID. Now it's being implemented all across China. That's what's coming. That's what they want. They want all of our financials to happen in a digital space. They want central bank digital currency. They want to be able to turn them on and off so you can or cannot function based on your loyalty to the government. Dissent will not be tolerated. This is what's coming. It's time to build parallel systems. It's time to burn this whole thing down.
Perfect mask for that question.
Thank you.
All right. Kay, to you. Categories: building parallel systems. Should communities focus more on self-reliance instead of waiting for government solutions?
Absolutely, 100%. There's a lot of things you can do to be self-reliant. You can start by just composting, and then building structures to capture rain for water. You can be building your plants, planting your plants and growing those, learning how to grow food, look into building food forests, finding your tribe, who you can trade with, looking for alternative energy sources, storing up wealth as much as you can. I like precious metals, gold and silver. It's the only currency that has never gone away, and it's finally coming up. Though the U.S. prices aren't as high as some other countries like Japan, like it should be. But parallel systems is something I think that we're going to continue to see. There are a lot of there's Brighteon.ai with a great platform for answers that's decentralized, that will still run without the central network. That's Mike Adams. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but a lot of it is we got to know our neighbors. We need to know our tribe. We need to get out and meet people, come back to community and local for that to happen.
Definitely. All right. Dave, last question of the night to you. Category is the future of freedom. Have Americans become too dependent on centralized systems to remain truly free?
Yes, this goes back to what I was talking about with technology earlier, but it expands outward with it. As a society, we're blessed. We're not going to find a lot of threats up and down the street in majority of our communities. Whereas other communities don't know if you're making it to the next day in our same country. We live in parallel worlds. I travel a lot with work. I see the different worlds that we live in. Northern Virginia, it's beautiful here. Don't worry about my kids or nothing. I can go less than 5-10 miles away, and I would be terrified for them to be out there. I work over there all the time. And this is the way it is throughout our country with it. So many of us have become isolated in our own little bubbles that we don't see the reality out there. And that's a beautiful thing. And I will tell you that Americans, as Americans, again, having served in combat and seen things both in Central America and over in the Middle East, we're blessed. We can live in this bubble. But this bubble is created to enslave us. And until we wake up to where this is going, we have a short amount of time to correct the direction that we're headed. And it is up to each and every one of us. And I mean, I am great to be sitting here at this panel. I love everybody that's been on here because they have said so much truth. Yes.
I agree. All right. Enter your scores in the chat. If you've not done so already, tell us who you think won. Let's jump into the chat one last time here. And 200 Rob for the Anarcho Syndicate merch. Nice strategy to don that after I lost. No masters, no slaves. Yeah, good strategy. Points to Amity with opening with Grover Washington Jr., just the two of us. Points to Amity for our government edit. 200 to Amity for disbanding NATO. 100 to Rob for the V for Velveeta mask.
Go side.
Amity's son's got points to Amity as a former Marine. We don't need to be the world's police force. 100%. And thank you for your service, Dylan. I don't believe that's really Rob. Minus 25. Points to K for mentioning that the media is being shaped. Points to K for Monopoly money. Points to K support small business. Points to K for the set change. Points to Dave for the leafy greens. Points to Dave is my spirit animal. Points to Dave get involved in your community. Points to K for making it to the final round. Awesome. Points to Amity for the cheesy laughing at yourself. Welcome to my world, kids. Welcome to my world. Points to Rob for creeping me out. Points to Amity for the eggshell white background, although I would have gone with an alabaster white. Points to Amity to help out more generations in a different period in their lives. I ain't painting shit. Points to Rob for the mask. Points to Rob for the muffler attachment. Points to K for the flag. Points to Rob if he can recite V for Vendetta.
Remember the 5th of November, the fire and gunpowder plot. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Give them 200.
Nice.
Good job.
Points to K for question everything. Points to Dave for understanding technology should be a tool, not a control. Points to Dave for situational awareness. Points to Amity, government is the enemy. 200 for the comment, shout out, working soy boy Graham into an impotent remark. That's for Rob. Points to Rob, rural North Carolina is hurting because of certificate of need. Points to Rob, F commie healthcare. Points to Rob for explaining certificate of need laws. Points to Kid crypto. Points to Rob, voila, in a view, a vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as victim and villain by the vicissitude of fate. I came close. Points to Dave for understanding the politicians are owned and pawns. Points to Kay for taking her glasses off to answer the questions. Very professional. Points to Amity, the only argument against nuclear is from Luddites. Points to Amity, nuclear heard. You heard. 100 pity points to Rob. I hope you win something soon. Points minus to Amity for not watching Chernobyl miniseries.
Chris.
Now I have to watch that. Points to Rob for starting a revolution. Points to Kay, he gets hashtag agorism. Points to Rob for burning it down. Points to Kay for the Crocodile Dundee hat. Points to Kay for her food forest. Points to Kay, Brighton, Mike Adams shout out. Points to Dave for the 1840s gold trim paintings. Points to Rob if he takes off the mask. That happened. Points to Kay for her great answers. Points to Amity for being the best dressed on the Showdown. Points to Amity for being the best mom ever. Oh, that's nice. Points to Rob for following back, engaging online for the LP. All right, let's see where this all lands here. And holy shit. We got a tie. Oh, I gotta scroll.
What? Wow.
29.7.
Wow.
Dave just behind at 2,900 and Dave 2,700. I don't know what we do here. Do we do a shootout here? Let's do a shootout. One last question each. Let's do it.
Oh, come on. Just let us both be winners.
What do you think, Rob? Do you want to just
sounds like some commie bullshit? No, I'm kidding. I just want to make fun of it.
It does, though.
It does. It does.
Give them all trophies.
Technically, I got more positive points because I got.
See, now this
I
is
got
going to
more
be
positive
this is going to be
points.
the whole weekend where Amity's going to like show up with like a clipboard telling me what
Because he only got negative 25.
Well, now
and I
you
got
convinced me,
negative
Rob. I think you
125.
convinced both of us. Let it be a top. Yeah, let it go. Make his weekend wonderful.
Hey, real quick, can I say, Amity, that's your son? He said he was in the Navy. Dylan, as a libertarian,
Marines.
my highest values are
Marines.
freedom and liberty. What is it? I'm sorry.
Marine Corps.
Marines. As a
Even better.
libertarian, my highest values are freedom and liberty, and you were willing to die for mine. That means everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cry.
And doesn't want to send more people to die, so that's double cool. So
And you got your mom
appreciate
tied.
that.
You kept her in it.
All right,
I
Dave.
apologize, Marines. It was an honest mistake. I would
right,
never
so-
suppose Amity would produce someone less than the Marines.
Oh, here
Thank
we
you.
go. Shots fired. All right, so Dave, you won your round, and then you came up a little bit short here. What'd you think, man?
Still trying to figure out how I won my round. Speaking, I kind of knew what I was walking into with what I'm up against here. I was up against really good people earlier. I mean, I think I am truly that more Virginian local guy, and I'm like, I see all these people mentioned, I see their names everywhere. And then when I got thrown in this round, I'm like, well, it ain't going to go too good. It wasn't as much a disaster as I thought. I would like to personally thank Kay for helping me out here so I don't feel so far down the totem pole with it. But no, it's great. I love all of these people. We know that. So thanks for having me.
You're an awesome dude, man. I really appreciate you. You can follow Dave on X at Dave Crance. He's the chair of LP Northern Virginia. That's lpnova.org. And on X at LP Nova. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, can I say one more thing there, Free?
You got it, bud.
In one of the earlier matches, I got points with a move to Southwest Virginia type statement, which I appreciate and love my people down in Southwest Virginia being up here in Northern Virginia. Everybody out there watching, if we don't make a stand where we're at right now, today, we can move, we can run, we can get away from it. We're leaving our children and we're leaving generations behind wherever we leave without a voice to educate them. And eventually, that's going to come back and bite you wherever you go. I appreciate everybody on this show tonight. A lot of great things were said and a lot of things that needed to be said. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome words, man. All right, Kay, first time ever on the show, and you end up in the championship round with these heavy hitters. What'd you think?
I had so much fun. It was really nice to interact with everyone live because I've been in the chat for a couple months interacting with everyone. It was really fun to participate. I loved it. Would love to maybe do it again someday. I learned a lot, laughed a lot, and it was just super fun. So thank you so much for putting this on. Amity and Rob are both amazing. I always learn from them all the time, and they did a great job, and I'm glad they both won.
All right. And you can follow Kay on X. She is at 3 Stand for Truth. Appreciate you, Kay. I think I'm going to be seeing you again soon here, and appreciate your friendship and you being a subscriber and all that. And congrats on the great night on the show. And since you guys tied, I'm not even gonna let you talk. That's how this works. I'm against the commie bullshit too. And well, I'll let Rob talk because you're gonna be talking about this all weekend, Amity. Rob, what'd you think?
So I guess if we tied, does this mean we get to share free now?
No.
Oh.
Awesome show. It's wild to tie. There's no one. I figured I was going to lose to Amity. She's probably like the top notch. Are you smarter than a politician? Participant of all time. So I'm in rarefied air. Kay and Dave, you were awesome. And Brent and Jay. I mean, Jake. I'm looking at something over here too. Brent, Jake, and Amity. I was like, that really is a murderer's row. That's heavy hitters. Quick shout out to Brent, Anarchist Syndicate, the Aiming Up podcast, one of my favorite podcasts going. And everyone, if you're not a subscriber already, you should be. You can be on the next one of these. Free is doing some awesome things here, so thank you very much. And Terry, I hope they made your life hell with the chat.
Anything you want to shout out?
Nothing right now. I'm retiring for 2 weeks.
Nice. You deserve it, brother. It's been a long road for you. And you can check out Rob on X. He's at Prosper CLT 2023. He is the LP North Carolina Communications Director. Ran for mayor a couple of times. Awesome friend. We had so much fun at your state convention. Also had fun at the Virginia convention with you too, Dave. Appreciate you, brother. And I hope you enjoy every second of the 2 weeks off with those awesome kids. Good times, man. And lady I barely know, Amity Dolby, what'd you think tonight?
I had so much fun. I loved giving points to the other contestants when I wasn't on. And, I love your subscribers, and a lot of them are friends of mine too. So I had fun. I love the chat. So I was hanging out with them too. And I appreciate being on when the chat's giving me points and other people points. And it's just so much fun. But I do want to point out that I got to update my profile on X to 5-time champ of the premier online game show, Are You Smarter Than a Politician? So I have already updated it. I have won 5 times now. I will gladly share that title with Rob for tonight's win because he is so awesome. And I honestly didn't think I would beat him tonight. So there was a lot of heavy hitters, and I had a blast. And yes, you're going to hear about it all week. Follow me on X at Amity Lee 13 and help me cyberbully the government.
Awesome. And you can follow Amity on X at Amity Lee 13. And what was your interview? Shout out your interview too.
Oh yeah. So I recorded an interview yesterday with Father Calvin Robinson. He's an Anglo-Catholic priest. And he has a big following all over social media. I think he has about a million followers over the different platforms. And that's going to be out in a couple weeks. And I'll be sure to share the link on my X.
Awesome. And let's get the brains behind the operation back on stage here. What'd you think, Terry?
Yay.
Oh my gosh. You guys, I was back here having an absolute attack. Rob and Anthony were going like this. I was like, oh, no. But it was so much fun, and I absolutely had a blast. I did a lot of laughing. You guys are all awesome. Just spread the word that if you want to learn about liberty and how to live liberty, that this is the place to be on Tuesdays and Fridays at 8:00 p.m. And just because I can, this book is coming out June 23rd. Amity already more than earned her free copy. But if any of you guys know other people that are doing multi-generational care, caring for their parents, caring for their children, or maybe a brother or sister, just send me a DM. I was sent several cases free, and I would be happy to give them to other people who have done caregiving in their lives. So that's all I got. You guys have a great night, and it was fun.
Yeah, and I think we're going to do a space here right afterwards so we can have a little bit more fun. So if anybody wants to jump on spaces with us. And once again, I just want to say thank you to the chat, but also huge thank you to the subscribers. You're helping us, not make this as an expensive ordeal with all the costs of streaming and all the things we have to pay for, not to mention all the travel we've done and everything. So really appreciate you subscribers. You guys put the wind in our sails, and you just are so special to me and Terry. So I just wanted to shout you all out. We really appreciate you so much. And you can join us Tuesday night. We're going to have a LP LNC show. So that'll be a lot of fun. Meet our new chair, vice chair, and an at-large member. And that'll be a really good time. And so talk to y'all hopefully on Spaces soon. But if not, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace out, y'all.